Welcome back to the woods, and welcome back to a woods that for the last couple of mornings has been that little bit chillier, which actually has been quite nice, quite refreshing. I've also noticed the leaves are starting to change colour a bit and some are starting to drop, and I think summer's on its way out, autumn's on its way in, and as sure as eggs is eggs, that means winter won't be far behind. Now I know for many people, bushcraft tends to be a summertime activity. Maybe the end of the spring, maybe through the summer and edging into the early autumn. But winter is a great time to be out. The problem is your summer gear quite often isn't going to do you a lot of good in the winter. For the winter you need the right gear. Now that can be a little on the expensive side from time to time, but if you know what to choose, it needn't be the case. So I'm going to do a couple of videos. This is going to be the first one, there might be a couple more, all about gear that's suitable for winter bushcraft. Now I could start with clothing, but I'm not going to. I'm going to start with the bit of gear that allows us to be out overnight in the winter, and that's our sleeping bag. My choice is this. This is the Carinthia Defence 4 sleeping bag. Carinthia is an Austrian company. They make exceptionally good insulated products, a whole range of different sleeping bags, jackets, booties, all sorts of things. The Defence 4 bag has actually been chosen by quite a few European countries as their military issue sleeping bag. Indeed, it was issued by the British military for a while. It's not a particularly lightweight bag in comparison to some of the civilian type bags. However, compared to other military bags, it is quite a bit lighter. This is the 185 version. It comes in two different lengths, a 200 and a 185. I'm only 5'9", so the 185 fits me particularly well. This one weighs in, without the stuff sack, at just over 1600 grams. So less than 2 kilos with the stuff sack. And if I had a silk liner to it, which I normally do, and we'll cover that in a bit, the whole package comes in at under 2 kilos. So the first thing we'll get out of the way is the cost, because a lot of people think they're quite expensive. 150 odd pounds if you buy one brand new, which a lot of people think is quite expensive. I don't. I think for what you're getting, it's a very, very good value piece of kit. You don't have to pay that sort of money. If you shop around on eBay, you can get ex-British military ones from when they were issued for a little while for between 70 and about £100. They're usually in pretty good nick. Yeah, they will have been used, but maybe only once or twice. As I said, these were on issue to the British Army, but not for very long. They replaced them with a lower price copy of this, made by a Spanish company called Fesca. The actual build quality is absolutely superb. The outer is a coated nylon that's pretty waterproof and windproof as well, so it's almost like having its own bivvy bag. It really does keep the weather out. The loft inside the insulation is something called G-Loft, which is an in-house produced insulating material actually made by Carinthia. It also has some sort of reflective foilised liner as well in there, so that actually cuts down on the overall bulk but increases the performance. Interestingly, the British Army copied this via a company in Spain. It's the same design but with different materials. To get a similar performance they had to use a bulkier filling so it weighs more, is bulkier, and it doesn't insulate to such a low temperature. This particular bag will see you down to about -15 on its own with just a little silk liner and a set of sleep clothing inside. For the proof, it's also got a long zip baffle, and talking of zips, the zip on this is probably the best zip on any sleeping bag I've ever used. It never ever snags. It's two-way, it's easy to do up, it comes apart easily when you want it to. If it's properly secured, it doesn't come apart. It's got an excellent baffle on the inside as well to stop it snagging on the lining. Everything with this bag is high quality. It's well put together, very well thought out, and it's a good bag. It's a good bag for a lot of reasons. The overall cut of the bag is big. It's got plenty of room inside, which a lot of people would say, well, that doesn't help with keeping warm, but it does. And what it also assumes is that you may have to wear kit inside it, or you may be drying kit out inside it. It also allows for another sleeping bag to go inside, because this is part of a military sleep system which uses two bags. There's a lighter weight tropical bag, again, which you can get the actual one made by Carinthia, but you can also put other bags inside as well. I tend to put in one of the British Army issue tropical bags, which is the copy. It's a lot less money, it's as good for the summer, and it fits well inside this particular bag. The other one I use is perhaps a little down bag inside. But as I said, it's cut big. There's no neck baffle, which again, a lot of people say, oh well, that helps to let the heat out. It does on a conventional bag because they have a big silly hood. This doesn't. This one has a very small opening for your face, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but it also is a very small opening for the heat to get out of. So it actually stays very nice and warm inside once you get used to it. It's a very good bag for damp conditions, and if you're travelling to places like Wales, Scotland, Dartmoor, where you want a good dependable bag that will perform when it's wet, and let's face it, in the winter there's always a chance that you're going to get wet. If you're not in a tent, then you run the risk of wind-blown rain or wind-blown snow, and your sleeping bag might get a bit on the damp side. Yes, we can back it up with a bivvy bag, which in the winter I do carry a bivvy bag as well. But the overall construction of this bag, the way it's put together, the outer skin on it, it works really, really well even without a bivvy bag. Compared to other military bags, it actually also compresses very well. The compression sack, as well as the usual ones that run around the outside, you've also got ones that run this way, and it compresses really, really well. So it doesn't take up a massive amount of space in the bottom of your rucksack, but you do get a really good winter performance from it. What I tend to want from a sleeping bag is something that will see me right the way through the year, except for maybe that bit in the summer when it's really baking hot, and perhaps I don't need a sleeping bag at all, or I could get away with just a lightweight bag or a poncho liner. This bag really does work for me pretty much all year. It fills that spec perfectly. In the depths of winter, I have it done right up. The hood is superb, and it helps to keep all the heat in. I can have my kit in there, I can have my boots in there, I can have my water bottles in there, all the things that I don't want to freeze during the night, and it keeps me toasty warm. The centre zip, if I'm using a hammock, is absolutely ideal, and the insulation doesn't compress particularly when you are in a hammock, so it actually is quite a good choice for in a hammock. As the months get a little bit warmer, or if you get that odd warm muggy night, Well, the two-way zip on it means I can ventilate it from the top and the bottom, so it really does work very well as a good 3-season bag. 3-season being autumn, winter and spring. Summer I tend to use something else a little bit lighter, but for everything else Carinthia Defence 4 is the bag you want in your Bergen. One of the downsides with it is because it's got such a good wind and waterproof outer skin on it, can be a little bit difficult to stuff in the stuff sack. You've always got to make sure you stuff it in foot first, and a little trick one of the squaddies taught me was to turn the hood inside out. That way, as you're compressing it in, the air is pumping out through the neck and it makes that task that little bit easier. But that is the only downside I've found with this sleeping bag. This is also a very robust bag. It's designed for military clients. It's designed to be squaddy proof. Everything about it is well constructed, well put together. The zip, you ain't going to break the zip. The toggles, the draw cords, everything on it is quality, it's well put together and it's rugged in use. My gear gets abused quite a lot while it's out. This bag I've probably had about 5 years now, and it's in very regular use, and apart from being a little bit smelly where it probably needs a wash, it's almost as good as the day I first got it. So you don't have to worry about durability. This bag has got it covered. As far as one piece of kit, yeah, it probably does seem quite expensive, but I can save money in other areas, which allows me to spend that bit more money on my sleeping bag, and a sleeping bag is important. As with any other bit of kit, it helps if we look after it, and with most stuff we do our best to keep it clean, etc., and our sleeping bag is no exception. One slight problem can be is every time we throw them in the washing machine, it actually degrades the insulation, and I think certainly on the new issue bags, they recommend that they're not washed more than 20 times in their lifetime. So you have to be fairly careful to try and keep them clean. The way I do that is I always make sure that I use my sleeping bag liner. In my case, it's one of my little light Mini Moores scarves, because it's set up not only as a scarf, but it can also be used as a sleeping bag liner. So I've got my scarf, I've got my sleeping bag liner, all in one bit of kit. What it helps to do is just keep the oils and the sweat off my skin, out of my sleeping bag. It all gets trapped inside my liner. This is easier to wash and cheaper to replace than my Carinthia sleeping bag. So there you have it. That's my recommendation for a good quality, very robust winter sleeping bag. And a winter sleeping bag, it's important you get it right. As I said, this one's been the first. There's probably going to be a couple of others we might look at load carrying, so what to get it all in, but also we're going to look at clothing and footwear, because again this is an area where you need to have the right stuff, but it also can be quite expensive. So I'm going to show you a few ways of getting the right gear for a lot less money. If you enjoyed this video, and I hope you did, as always, remember, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you haven't already, remember to hit that notifications bell so that whenever I put a new video out, you're the first to know. Remember, you can also support the channel. Pop over and visit my Etsy shop. If you look in the link at the bottom of the page, you'll be able to click on that and that'll take you straight over there, and there's a selection of items over there, including the Greencraft patch. Show your support for the channel. You can stick it on your hat or your smock, or on your Bergen. You can also follow me on Instagram. I am Greencraft_01, and you can also follow us over on Facebook. Just look up Greencraft. As I said, hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I've been Neil, stay safe.